Hey guys, this came out yesterday, and it's the development blog for new test ships. And this is crazy. So I had to show you exactly what Wargaming's thinking here. This is insane. This is actually insane. So at tier 9, I haven't looked at all of this yet, but we saw the tier 9 American battleship Kearsarge. I'm probably pronouncing that horribly. It looks horrible. It looks horrible. I mean, that's subjective, but what is going on here in the middle? I don't know. But you get 12 406mm guns, which, let me remind you, is Montana level gun power. Okay? And a good firing range, a large amount of HP, and you get Tiny Tim rockets on a tier 9 battleship. You're a Montana that can launch Tiny Tims. How crazy is that? So looking at the stats here for this ship, 84,000 HP. That is approaching tier 10 levels of HP. 32mm plating. It being American battleship, probably has 38mm upper belt and deck armor. You get 4x3 406s, so a lot of gun power, and 19.6 kilometers of range, which I'll remind you here for a second. This battleship has good firing range. At tier 9, they think at tier 9, 19 kilometers is good firing range for tier 9, when Iowa has 23. So that's kind of crazy. I think Wargaming's kind of lost it here. I don't really know if they know what they're putting out. This is crazy. You get 5.7k HE alpha with 36% fire chance. Initial velocity 820, AP shell damage 13,100, and at 701 meters per second. So this is a North Carolina with another turret, and you have the ability to launch Tiny Tim rockets at tier 9. And you have 84,000 HP. That's insane. At least you have a 36-second reload, so they're not giving you the full fat 30-second with 12 shells. But yeah, I would guess you're likely going to run range mod due to the poor range, or you run reload mod and you get a spotter plane too. I don't understand what's going on here. Standard secondaries, they're not very useful unless they're on a Massachusetts, Georgia, or Ohio, because you don't have the upgraded accuracy. And what is our detectability? That is very interesting to me. 16.9 kilometer surface detect. So that'll get you down to 13 something? Close to 14? Nah. 13. It's 13.3. 13.3? I guess. That's great. That's pretty good. That's pretty good detection. Iowa's around 12.7, I believe. So a little worse, but you have more firepower, and you get Tiny Tim rockets to go hunt out those destroyers that are after you. I don't know about this one. Damage control, repair party, and aircraft. So you don't get a spotter plane. So we're going to see a lot of range mod on this ship. But remember, it's American range mod, so it goes in slot 3. And that means you're still open to have either dispersion module or reload module in your 6th upgrade slot. So range is not a problem, taking range mod on an American battleship. So I assume that's what we're going to see from the majority of people. And yeah, you just get Tiny Tims. 68 mils of pen, 33% chance of fire, 5,400 rocket damage. That's kind of insane. Why would you give a battleship rocket planes? Is it just me, or are we just losing all form of rock, paper, scissors here? I know it's a bit of a meme, rock, paper, scissors, but shouldn't there be some sort of destroyers counter battleships, battleships counter cruisers, cruisers counter destroyers? And that way you rely on your teammates to have an interesting game and you play with your team. If you can just do everything yourself, what's the point of playing in a team game? All right. So that is the Tier 9 Kearsarge. And we got more. We're not done yet. We are not done yet. American Cruiser, Rochester, something like that. Tier 8. You get 9 203s. So, yeah, Baltimore guns by the looks of things. Good concealment. You get radar, hydro, defensive fire. And you get reduced number of charges relative to classmates. Okay. High salvo weight, improved ricochet angles. So this looks like a premium Baltimore? I guess. Let's look at the stats real quick. 41,000 HP. That seems about in line. I think Baltimore is maybe a little less than that. 16 kilometer range, 27 millimeter plating, so 380s will not overmatch you. Only 406s will. Yeah, pretty standard HE and AP shell damage. You get the nice Des Moines level AP damage, and I'm assuming arcs as well. So if you're used to Des Moines, you're going to be able to play this ship just fine. 11.5 second reload. That's a little bit long. I believe Baltimore is around 10 seconds. Secondary armament, I think that's pretty standard. Nothing really that special here. 33 knots, 750 meters turret traverse. Rudder shift time. Sorry, not turret traverse. Turning radius. Surface detection, 12.1 base. What? 12.1? What does that get down to? That's got to be 9 point something. And let me guess, a 10 kilometer radar? Oh, a 9 kilometer radar. Okay. So you get like, what, 9.5 kilometer detect, 9 kilometer radar. And you only get 2 charges of radar. Yep. It's a Baltimore. But you get hydro and radar at the same time. I believe Baltimore can't mount hydro, radar, and defensive fire all at once. So you get a little more utility. Less charges of each one, little longer reload. I don't know if this is terribly interesting, but yeah. I don't know. That doesn't seem that insane to me. At least we're not getting whatever this American battleship abomination is. Most of the time, you're probably going to just prefer Baltimore for its increased DPM and longer range radar, that kind of thing. French cruiser Carnot? I'm not French. I am very Canadian, and I don't speak French. So I'm probably mispronouncing that, and I'm sorry. Still, though, Tier 9 cruiser, 66,000 HP, 25 millimeter plating. Remains to be seen what the upper belt and deck armor and potentially an icebreaker looks like on this thing. But this gets overmatched by everything it faces, so it's probably a good thing. Long fire duration, so this is a super cruiser, or battle cruiser, however you want to pronounce it, however you want to say it. 1x4 305 millimeter gun. Okay. And then what? I guess there's more. 2... Am I missing something here? 1x4? Oh, here it is. 2x3. Okay, so you got a weird turret layout. 19 kilometers of range. You're getting 10 305 millimeter guns at tier 9. So we've seen Alaska with 9, right? Similar range. It's not that insane so far. 2.05 Sigma, 208 meter dispersion, so it'll be reasonably accurate. I would assume good shell velocity because it's French, and that is what the French ship's kind of flavor is. Decent AP damage, actually, as well as HE. Wow, that's actually really pretty strong HE, I would say. You're approaching battleship levels of HE alpha. 51 millimeter pen, so look out with your Kurfürst and Stalingrad and Petro, Moskva, anything with 50 millimeters of armor. That means this HE will punch right through it. That's probably pretty standard of 305s, though. Only 25% fire chance. That's a little bit low, I would say, but not too bad. The one thing to note is the reload time. 24 seconds is a little bit long, so something like an Alaska gets in that 19-20 second range base, and this being 24 means they're probably more accurate and have better shell velocity than Alaska. That's probably the balancing factor if I had to guess. And yeah, you get really fast shell velocity, and I'm assuming very little shell drag. Secondary armament, you get 8 kilometers. It's the French theme to have longer range secondaries. Of course, these 100mm guns don't pen anything. The 139s will pen some stuff, but because it's French, it doesn't have any increased accuracy, so they're essentially useless. So I wouldn't count on those at all. Looks like your AA is gonna be okay. Only 6 flak, 5.8 kilometer range. Most French ships have 6, but you're a cruiser. You're a little more maneuverable than a battleship. You're pretty fast at 34 knots. And you get a surface detect base of 15.3, which is pretty high. That probably relates to somewhere in the 12 to 13 kilometer detect with the full build, which isn't bad if you can go for that. And firing your guns in smoke, 11.9. So you're not going to be smoke firing. This is, yeah, a French supercruiser. I guess that's what they were looking for to put in the game, is a French supercruiser. Interestingly, here you have fighter, spotter, or engine boost as a choice in slot 3. I assume most people are going to go engine boost, and depending on how powerful that boost is, the French ones can get up to that 20% boost. That could be a very fast ship when you have a base speed of 34.5 knots. And of course you get a repair party. Hydro or defensive fire, pretty standard, I would say. This engine boost on this ship does make it a little bit interesting. Maybe it's going to be a good flanking ship. But of course, this is a dev blog. The really interesting thing here I wanted to show you guys was this Kearsarge, or Kearsarge? Kearsarge? I don't know how to pronounce it. I'll have to figure it out eventually. But that is a weird looking ship, and it's a hybrid. I'm going to take a second to talk a little bit about these hybrid ships. As you noticed, I don't have an eSave review up. I just don't want to buy a hybrid ship, man. I don't want to give Wargaming money for something like that. I just really, really don't believe that's a good way for this game to go. And since I'm not a CC, I don't get access to it, so I'm just not going to buy it. But to talk about them really quickly, I think it's horrible for the game to add more planes. We don't need more planes. This isn't World of Warplanes. This is World of Warships. And I want to play my ships fighting other ships. And yes, I understand that CVs were a part of World War II and all that good history stuff, but this is an arcade game that is super, super arcadey and not historically accurate. So adding all these planes in, Dutch airstrikes, hybrid ships, submarines that, I mean, I'm sure you guys saw Flaming's video on it. If you ping an aircraft carrier, it instantly pops its 60-second damage control, and then you can't ping it again for the next 60 seconds, and you'll get no damage out of your torpedoes. I just really think the way this game is going is really negative, and it's really hard for me to look at this stuff in a positive light, because Wargaming's track record when it comes to adding new things to the game, like the CV rework, is really negative, and it's made the game much worse than it was before. So adding ships like these hybrid ships and essentially ruining Tier 6 Matchmaker with the Issei, I'm assuming the aircraft carriers in that range are going to get buffs, because a lot of people are going in with 3-man Issei divs and just going straight for the enemy carrier and killing the carrier with those torpedo bombers. Something's going to change there, and, well, it's coming up to Tier 9 now with this Kearsarge, however it's pronounced. And I don't like it. I was hiding at Tier 10. I haven't played Tier 6 at all since the Issei was released, because I have no interest in playing against a double CV, a triple Issei div, and potentially some of these Dutch airstrike test ships. It sounds horrible, And it seems like all we're going to be doing is fighting more things that we can't deal damage to. Can't deal damage to aircraft. Sure, you can shoot them out of the sky, but the ship launching them, you're not dealing damage back. And submarines coming out, you better know they're going to buff them massively to get people playing them. Just like the CV rework, I assume they will be balanced based on play rate. And if people don't play them, they're just going to buff them until they're overpowered. And then people who just want to cheese are going to go play them. And that's how Wargaming will get their play rate numbers up. And suddenly you're looking at a game where you got overpowered aircraft in the sky and overpowered subs under the water that you just can't deal with. So I'm pretty pessimistic when it comes to where this game is going. I'll try and keep the videos more positive on good things, but this is a little look at the future of this game, and it's not very bright. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and I hope you have a great day.